What's up, guys? How we doing? Breaking news, as everybody can tell. But the pass rusher has officially been signed. We have the name, we have the individual. There was speculation, kind of shared that over the last few days, and can officially confirm now that that is the person we were talking about. Za'Darius Smith has signed with the Eagles. Thomas, thoughts there on the move?
Well, you called a couple of days ago. You've been quietly, hinting at this sort of move, and we knew it was Za'Darius Smith. Weren't allowed to share things, but you had it before anybody else did, which is pretty impressive. And now it's officially official. Za'Darius Smith, very interesting, right? Not a name you would think would be available one day after the start of the NFL season, essentially. But the way the whole season kind of pans out, these 32-year-old players sometimes don't want to go through an entire training camps period, which that's up to them. They can make their decision. And now you get a guy who had 9 sacks last year, 5 with the Cleveland Browns and 4 with the Detroit Lions in Philly, one day removed from a win against the Dallas Cowboys, where your edge rushers, particularly Josh Uche, played very well, but one edge rusher in Azeez Ojulari did not. And what's fascinating about this move, Josh, is how much they're giving Za'Darius Smith. $9 million on a one-year contract. This is not like a cheap, we'll just pay a veteran minimum. I think they gave Azeez Ojulari $4 million. He's either going to get cut or traded, by the way. That's almost guaranteed now.
Yeah.
The fact they are willing to give $9 million away to a 32-year-old edge rusher after the season has started tells you they really wanted this guy, and they felt like they needed one final move on the defensive line to shore up the edge rusher spot, and now they've officially made that move.
And you wonder, too, the timing of this, like you say, the fact that, okay, yes, Za'Darius Smith's getting the money that he did, but Howie Roseman only paid $3 million to Azeez Ojulari is that the biggest signing during free agency.
Yeah.
So probably on the radar, timing naturally for, a veteran like Za'Darius Smith, he doesn't have to go through the training camps. He's more acclimated. He understands. He'll have things right. So there's not any concerns on that element, but you wonder, was it him trying to kind of feel things out? Like which area fits him best? Understandable, because a lot of veterans have done that in the past. But here it is now, and Thomas, 100%, as you say there, it's not only Azeez Ojulari, Ogbo Okoronkwo was also inactive. So, the fact that you had only really 3 effective edge rushers going into or being at last night's game for the Cowboys, it spoke volumes. And then it was like, well, okay, how soon, how quickly? The other element that comes into play here too, and this is where, I think some people started DMing and tweeting and, speculating all this other stuff of like, it is maybe Za'Darius Smith because of the guaranteed factors of the money, and then with the Eagles playing earlier, then they can have an opportunity to sign Za'Darius Smith and not have to deal with all the contract ramifications for other teams that have to wait until Sunday. There's a lot of nuances and it gets confusing, but basically it's early bird gets the worm. The Eagles, in this sense, playing first, it kind of helped them in that way. And so then they can officially announce it to the league. The deal is done. And Za'Darius Smith, he's going to play meaningful pass rush snaps. So you can clearly see that from the contract. I really like the move. It's one of the areas we're looking at, say, hey, can you get some veteran leadership? Can you get some experience on the pass rush? We're not saying he's taking a starting role, but it'd be nice to have a little bit more of that rotation. Patrick Johnson, no offense to him. If it's for special teams, that's fine, but you really don't want him as your 3rd or 4th option. I know Josh Uche was great, but you don't want him as that other guy.
Well, I do, feel for a lot of Eagle fans who are going to comment, $9 million. How much was the Darius Slay and Isaiah Rodgers contract?
Again.
Yeah, well, again, I'm not Howie Roseman, so maybe there's a corner move coming. Who knows?
Maybe.
Very, very hard to find a cornerback out there. Here's my thought on Za'Darius Smith that makes it very, very simple. Why was he available at, this point in the offseason? It tells you that a lot of other teams weren't that interested. We can just acknowledge that. Maybe, he was doing a bidding war and Philadelphia won. That's fine. But I think Howie Roseman sees this as we are a Super Bowl caliber team once again. And even if you were upset based on last night, I think it's very hard to judge the defense without Jalen Carter. That's kind of like judging the offense without Jalen Hurts. I mean, that's like if Saquon Barkley was out. That'd be a massive, massive loss for that side of the football. And he understands that as Howie. What happens if you were to lose Nolan Smith or lose Jelix Hunt or maybe lose Josh Uche? What if any of those guys go down with an injury? You have nobody because they aren't thrilled with Azeez Ojulari. We know that. Ogbo Okoronkwo, clearly not thrilled with him either. And like you said, Patrick Johnson is a preseason Hall of Famer at this point in Philadelphia, but not somebody you want taking 30-plus snaps a game as an edge rusher. So they're bringing in somebody with depth. They're bringing in a veteran leader, by the way. 32 is way older than anyone else in this defense. Jordan Davis is your oldest edge rusher.
By a mile.
So is Josh Uche. But Jordan Davis is your oldest defensive player. Uche is your oldest edge rusher, I should say, overall, in terms of getting that right. But depth. Can he play a Chris Long role? Who knows? Can he play meaningful snaps? Who knows? But this protects you in case something were to go down, especially at the edge rusher position, because they feel like when Jalen Carter doesn't spit on Dak Prescott, and he does play Josh, any of these edge rushers can win one-on-one, and that will include Za'Darius Smith, who had 9 sacks the previous season.
That he did. And that's a huge element there to it as well. It's like he's coming to a team obviously not being asked to be the number one pass rusher. So it'll be in those rotational situations. He's done it before. As we said, you're not asking him to, like, oh, well, is he going to be ready? There's some elements there, coming from not having been with an offseason of Vic Fangio. I think it's of a similar sort. And I saw the comment here in a second. I'll get to it with Daniel with a super chat was saying last night, Uche was flying off my screen. Why did he only get 19 snaps? Situational pass rush is where they had him, quite honestly. I mean, you look at it, 19 snaps, 18 of those was rush the passer. So it's very clear cut. Don't ask him to drop back in coverage. Don't have other responsibilities. It's, hey, see quarterback, get quarterback. Like, that's basically what it was for Uche. Question will be, is that kind of similar for Za'Darius Smith, or is it going to be, the Fangio flavors of like, okay, my gosh, why do we have someone that's dropping back into coverage there? But it's disguising to the defense. I still don't think that this is going to be near the type of growing pains that it would be for a corner. So I understand the comments from everybody else and we're right there with you. Like, yes, hindsight being 2020. Howie Roseman is not perfect. He's made some incredible moves, but he may never admit this, but I think that if he was, had to absolutely lie detector test, did he make a mistake with the cornerback position? I feel like he probably would say yes at this point from what we've seen so far. And it's probably too late. I know Asante Samuel Jr. continues to get thrown out there.
October is when he's healthy.
Right.
Yes.
So, even if you wanted him, you take forever. Is he the answer? Maybe, maybe not. But in a Vic Fangio system, and again, I'm not trying to take anything away. I know there's different elements that come into play with an edge rusher, with a pass rusher, and someone playing that role. Cornerback is markedly more difficult to adjust to of what the responsibilities are versus a guy to say, and again, we'll see where they ask him to do, right? I could be totally wrong here, but versus you're going to line up on the edge and you're going to rush the passer. Like, you've done that a million times. You understand your responsibilities on the edge, and it could be different. So we'll see. We're not giving up on that, but it's still promising. It's still good news. I mean, ultimately, all around, drop a like for it. I think it's great. I don't know very many people that are going to knock the move there. It's just more so what's going on at the quarterback position, and you have money to spend, so obviously, why not do that for someone else?
Well, and technically, we know Philadelphia have been hunting edge rushers all offseason. Adam Schefter said 2 days ago they made a big play for Micah Parsons, of all people.
Yeah.
So Za'Darius Smith's very different than Micah Parsons. You do wonder if you want to go grand conspiracy here, Josh, and 40 chess, Philly bringing another edge rusher because they're going to want to use an edge rusher or defensive player to trade for a cornerback, which is a possibility. I do think that it will take multiple weeks of really bad Adoree Jackson for Howie to like pull the plug. We haven't even seen Ja'Cory Bennett get a lot of reps in there. He was targeted 3 times, gave up 3 catches last night, but at least they weren't big ones like Adoree Jackson did. He had like 32-yarder, a 26-yarder, a pass interference, a 23-yarder. It was rough last night. So a couple of weeks and then maybe a cornerback move, but you did mention it. Za'Darius Smith has one job. That's go beat a left tackle and get to the quarterback. Cornerback in a Vic Fangio system where they played almost entirely zone. I think it was 100% zone last night. They are going to have to learn a lot more on the fly if they were to come in at the start of the season. So I think they're going to hold out and really hope for the fact that Adoree Jackson figure things out or Ja'Cory Bennett is the answer before they panic and sell somebody to go ahead and add, a cornerback, plus which cornerback do they add, who's available week 1 of the season. But this is a move that gives you depth, nonetheless, veteran leadership, nonetheless, and he did have 9 sacks last year. He gives you 5 sacks. That's going to be a massive success for $9 million.
Yes. And I'm right there with you also as far as not giving up on Ja'Cory Bennett. He's limited, small sample size. It wasn't great. It was better than Adoree Jackson, and that's also not saying anything for what last night. But he only had a week and a half or 2 weeks of or whatever it was for training camp. So give it a little bit of time. Maybe there's something there. Sergeant Slippy with a 2. Appreciate these super chats. I am getting to those. What are you guys seeing on AJ health-wise? I'm sure we're going to cover lots of different topics here for these super chats, but we'll quickly run through these. As far as AJ, it was limited in the snaps he ran, and here's the problem. And if you haven't already, go check out Thomas's recap because he's got a lot of coverage in there already from that. But the open category, right? PFF says he was open on 12 rounds. You got another one next gen. He was open on 8 rounds. just what it's.
But then I
it's
saw zero separation on
there
that
you go.
stat
See,
too. It's all ridiculous.
so you could make the analytics and stats say whatever you want to. Ultimately, if you go back and you watch that game, I think it was, and really we were saying this during the game, but certainly go back and watch it. Dallas had a very clear-cut effort and a clear-cut design of saying, we are going to limit A.J. Brown. A.J. Brown was the very best in football in man-to-man coverage. So Dallas ran 100% zone coverage in the game. There's a reason why. They ran 100%, and it was two guys bracket coverage to make sure Jalen, if you're even going to look AJ's way, you're going to have to think about two defenders at all times. And you know what? Kudos to Jalen that he didn't force it. He went other routes. You got the win. Does AJ need to be involved? 100%. No one's denying that. Maybe a little bit of rust, but I don't think it's as much of a health thing with a hamstring as it is just kind of getting things acclimated, trying to take what the defense gives you, and then move on from that.
This is how Philadelphia works. Jamar Chase is getting a ton of looks in a Joe Burrow-led offense. A.J. Brown doesn't in an Eagle offense, and that's for a bevy of different reasons. And next week, he could go for 150 yards, and we all shut up, right? And Saquon could have the bad night. I think that not running the football really particularly well, he only had 60 yards on the ground at Barkley, was a factor. I think that the second halftime break with the Lightning was a factor as well. They need to go ahead and just make forced throws to A.J. Brown just to get him warmed up, especially early on. A couple of slants, not that hard. Ken Patullo's first game, try not to screw things up, is kind of what I felt like the whole entire system was. In the end, though, they win. Now they go ahead and add an additional edge rusher, and the good news is that they have plenty of more cap space if they want to make more moves, and they still have a stacked football team if they don't want to make more moves, and they're still 1-0.
That's it, yes. Very important there. 1-0, as John says here with the two. Let's freaking go. Go Birds. Go Birds, John.
Go Birds.
Appreciate you. Also, everybody else, too, that are coming in late timing-wise and everything else. Za'Darius Smith. I'll put it back on the screen, official, but feel free to watch it back to get the full recap and everything. But Za'Darius Smith signs a one-year deal with the Eagles, $9 million. It's a little noteworthy there in terms of the number.
It's a lot of money.
We're appreciating that. I think that's a good move there. Tristan with a two, great vet to bring in, especially after Spitgate. It's fair, I guess, either way, depending on how that suspension goes. You take a little bit more depth on that side.
Right.
Seems to be, that Jalen Carter should be okay, but we're not deep diving in that one. Again, Thomas already covered that one pretty well. If you want to go check that one out. Daniel with a 5. Also, last night, Uche, this was the one I already said, flying off the screen, 19 snaps. I'm getting to these in order. We jumped around. K. King with a 2. We should have signed Gilmore. I've seen some of those even in earlier videos. Again, I mean, they're doing
Gilmore's pretty old.
They're doing their due diligence.
Pretty old.
I don't think that. Who knows? I could be wrong because we could say, well, yeah, but what are we looking at right now? Don't agree with Adoree Jackson. I'm going to still preach this until we see. I would say until we see like a couple games, and maybe it takes forever, but until we see a couple games worth of, hey, Ja'Cory Bennett is starting cornerback. When he has the preparation to be like, I'm going to start this week, it'll be a full game. Like, that is the plan. But regardless of like, oh, he's inserted last minute in the run of things, Adoree Jackson, whether he was benched, whether he was getting checked for a concussion, whether it was kind of a both, and then get him back out in the second half, give him a little bit more time where there's some comfortability. Deontay with a 5 also. Let's go 1-0, start back-to-back with JC. Dak had all day to throw. That doesn't happen if JC is in there. Think about it. They double team
100%.
JC, and then everybody else, JD and others get to
100%.
feast. Absolutely.
Yep.
That's a given. Also, I'm duty with a 5. Jackson equals very bad. Give Bennett the start. Patullo was nervous the first game, but scheme AJ and Smitty open.
That sounds about right. I just want to point out, Josh, that you go back and watch, let's just say, the Tampa Bay game, week 4 last year. People were calling for Darius Slay to be benched. People thought Darius Slay got torched in that game, and so did Cedar Gardner-Johnson, both of whom played a massive part in Philadelphia's success down the road. So a little bit of time, a couple of reps here and there could make a big difference.
Yes, 100%. And it's I think there was part of me, because I've been wrestling with this, and I'll mention more deep dive and everything else in the video that I'm dropping tomorrow. But it's like I've wrestled with the fact of, okay, we had the slow start last season, so I was trying to prepare myself there. But then you hear in the press conferences from Fangio going like, yeah, that was kind of overblown. Like, that was different last year. So you hear that statement, right? And then you hear Kevin Patullo, we're good. We got this plan. We're going to keep our stars involved. We understand that there's elements, but we will come back to it. And then we watched that last night, and you go, So the defense is really struggling at times, quite a bit. Now they shut out Dallas in the second half, regardless if it's some lucky drops or whatever, however you want to phrase it, but still shut them out in the second half. And the offense goes away or doesn't continue to try to scheme up something for the Stars. So it's a little bit irritating, frustrating. I don't know what the exact wording is there, but at the end of the day, as you said, as several people here have said, and it's 100% what's accurate is they're 1-0. It's contribution over credit, and they're 1-0. That was exactly what that game was.
Yep.
Eagle 1, Matt with a 20 bomb. Long day delivering packages. Still at it. You two are the best. Go Birds. Matt, you're the best, man. To a day after the game, delivering
How tired
packages.
Are you, Matt?
I mean, my gosh.
Goodness. I did a lot of caffeine this morning to get my show out, which you can watch on my channel right now. But I have just hit a wall. I was literally about to take a nap, but then Josh texted me about Za'Darius Smith. So
that's how this goes.
I have hit my wall, and so hopefully Eagle 1, Matt, you haven't hit your wall yet because you got to keep delivering those packages. So
yes,
we are tired, very tired.
That's how it goes, though, with the breaking news here. All right, I'm running through these super chats really quickly. We are going to wrap here in about 5 minutes because Thomas needs to take a nap, and I actually got to run for a workout. So timing-wise and everything there, it worked out beautifully. But if you've not already, or you're kind of catching up late, Za'Darius Smith, Eagles have signed. Full details, rewind, watch it back. For the other quick super chats, though, we do appreciate you guys, all the support. Anthony with the 2, Rodgers was like prime time compared to Adoree. Yeah, lots of
Isaiah Rodgers is the hottest ex-Eagle in town, Josh. Everybody loves the ex. It's like the ex-girlfriend that got away, right? She dumped you and you didn't want her to leave. That is literally what Isaiah Rodgers is to Philadelphia.
Don't watch the Minnesota game this week. Do yourself a favor and do not watch the Minnesota because all it's going to I mean, could you imagine if Zay has like a pick six? Oh my gosh, it'll be even worse. But if he just plays decent, if it's just a moderate outing from Zay,
that's all we need.
It's going to be like, okay, well, rough. Yeah. It's more salt in the wound is what it is. Maxwell with a 5. We got to run the ball to the outside more and more play action. All of our runs were right down the middle, and Dallas was selling out to stop it.
I totally agree.
Talk about it a little bit more on the video as well, but they were certainly stacking and kind of making life easier. The Eagles had lots of alignments that were very bunched together, kind of making life easy for the Cowboys, but... Smackfoot, I think you're talking about the signing. Yes, you did call it in the last show. There were several people that mentioned the name.
There were several people.
Say who it was officially. So congrats to you guys. Y'all were on it. Vasta with the 5. Who would you guys love for the Eagles to bring in at cornerback? Who do you guys think would be a solid fit at cornerback that would fit your system?
Know. I really don't know. I really don't know.
I mean, we talked about it here a second ago, and I'm the same way.
It's too early.
I still am holding out of like you traded for Jacorian Bennett. And even though, I mean, heck, Keely Ringo can't be worse than Adoree Jackson. Like, he can't. I mean, 7 targets, 5 catches, 5 first downs, 103 yards, a touchdown, another PI. Like, what else is Keely Ringo going to do in the game last night that Adoree Jackson didn't give up? Right? If it's a couple other pass interferences, and I mean, it was about as bad as it possibly could be. So, we're holding out hope, though. I think there's still patience, as we're saying, because of you're even seeing the element of Jacorian Bennett. Fangio said he's not giving up on Jacorian Bennett, and eventually you may see him out there, but he's also not ready to play him because, he's got to learn the city. He needs a little bit more time to be comfortable. There's a reason why even Cooper DeJean that took till week 5 or after the bye, after week 5 bye to get on the field.
Really,
right?
Yeah.
So, it takes a little bit. Anthony with 2 more. I'm wondering, are they still dem boys though?
No. They're 0-1 boys. They're 0-1, so they're 0-1 boys.
Still talking. Simo with the 5. Bennett is very good. He's never too far from the ball. Tackles well. The penalties are something he can work on, but he is legit, and that's I think what we would say is he. You're going to get some PIs. That's with his game, but I mean, how refreshing is it? You watch him play just a couple snaps coming into the game, and you're like. Thank you. If you're going to give up something, I'm fine. I can live with that. I can live with a little bit of some pass interference or give up a catch if you're at least right there and trying to make a play on it instead of, hey, there's a wide open receiver. Who? Oh yeah, it's Adoree Jackson. Yep, it figures. Okay.
Yep.
A couple more here as we're about to wrap. Cup 1, 2, 3 with the 5. What's the reasoning for keeping Adoree out there? That was horrible last night. Just put anyone else in. Can't be worse than him. And see, that's what we just said a second ago.
Wash, rinse, repeat with our answer on that one.
Insert Keely Ringo. Insert Jacorian Bennett. I don't know. they're going to watch the film, and surely
Yes,
it
they
couldn't.
will.
It was not
Yes, they
good in
will.
their minds before, but watching the film, they're going to go back and be like, "Wow, that okay, yeah." And maybe there's a quicker decision than what we expect. I sadly am right there with those that think it still could be Adoree Jackson in Kansas City. I hope it's not.
Probably will
but
be.
It could
probably
be,
will be.
and well, good luck. Hopefully, at least Jalen Carter will be present for that one.
We'll
Ray.
see.
Looks like the last super chat. We appreciate that from Ray. Ray with a 2 says, let's just start Jacorian. Again, can't get any worse. It's the same sentiment. We're on the same page for everybody.
You said it first, right? Yeah, I mean, come on. I mean, how many times? That's going to be... Listen, they're not going to tell us anything until next week, and they probably won't tell us until Monday, Tuesday, probably Wednesday. You'll get some hints there at practice, so we're not going to know for a while, but that's going to be a big-time storyline for the next couple of days alongside Jalen Carter and A.J. Brown.
Yes, as we'll keep track of, keep you guys up to date. With the Monday game, too, there's usually the delay, so there may be even an extra day of just waiting since
Could be
the
Tuesday.
Monday.
Yep.
Smeg Magician with a 2. If Dak also spit, you must acquit. That's a pretty good one there. I don't think I've heard of that.
Okay.
Try to use that analogy. It's
pretty
there.
good.
Okay. Yes. That whole it's craziness. Anyway, we do appreciate you guys. I got to run. Thomas has got a nap. We got more content, videos, everything else. Thomas's recap, as I mentioned, is already up. It'll
Check
be
it out
tomorrow, so keep an eye out for that one. Lots of giveaways. It's just nonstop, constant. You guys know that. Make sure to drop a like, subscribe, rewind if you're just joining. Za'Darius Smith, official. He's a pass rusher. More moves coming for Howie. As always, see you guys. Go Birds.
Go Birds.